guys, today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, and that is the topic of when you should get married, what age you should get married, and how old is too old to be getting married. What do you guys think about this? Is there an age you should get married? Let me know in the comments below. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brittany. I am 33 years old, and I did used to get questions like, when are you getting married? Are you worried like your biological clock is ticking? All that kind of stuff. I did used to get questions about when I was getting married, especially when I was in a previous long-term relationship when I was in college. I know that a lot of people face a lot more pressure in certain parts of the world. This is all really cultural, but I would say like even in the US, it's hard for some folks, especially older people, to imagine how you could possibly be a certain age and not be married. So I do just want to say that the entire notion that you need to get married by a particular age or that you need to get married at all is a construct. It's a complete cultural made-up construct. Somebody made it up at some point in history and we continue to do it today. We continue to believe this myth. It's really a myth that you have to be married or that you have to do anything by a particular age. And we all buy into this and we make movies and books about it and we tell stories about it, but that doesn't make it true. It's just an age. And I know that some people feel that made-up construct particularly hard if you're in a certain community where this pressure is really, really hard on you. But deep down you know that it's not true. That turning 25, 27, 30, 33, 35, etc. and not being married doesn't say anything about you or your worth. And it really, really sucks to go against the grain on this, to feel like you don't belong or you don't fit in because you're not getting married at the right time, or maybe you don't want to get married or whatever it is. It's not easy, but it's also not easy going along with something just because you feel like you should. Now, having said that, yeah, you can look at the average ages that most people get married in whichever particular country you're from or that you live in, and you can say to yourself, oh, I should be married by the time I'm 27 because that's the average age that women get married in my country or whatever. But you would be doing yourself a disservice because you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people, because you don't have to do things at the same age as other people. And by making that your reason for getting married, that's a superficial reason. It might cause you to make rash decisions that you otherwise wouldn't make. Maybe you wouldn't feel like getting married at this age, but you just feel pressure to get married at this age because that's what the average is. And I was also looking at this study profiled in Psychology Today, which is really interesting. I mean, it says something that a lot of us already know, that statistics tell us that the younger you get married, the more likely you are to get divorced later on. So I think that most of us have always thought that it doesn't really matter if you get married older in terms of whether or not your marriage will be successful, but that definitely getting married too young can make it so you have a higher risk of getting divorced. And the studies do seem to support that. However, there seems to be some new research that suggests that there's actually like a sweet spot for which age you should be getting married to avoid divorce. So this study says divorce is 50% less likely for someone who is 25 years old when they wed as compared to someone who gets married at age 20. So better to wait until you're 25 than to get married when you're 20. And anecdotally, I can say that this is true. I've definitely known several people, maybe more than that, who got married straight out of college, straight out of university, and were divorced by the time they were 30, maybe even into their second marriages. I had a boss who told me when I was 22 or 23 years old that I should not get married until I was 30 because she was going through this. She was in her early 30s and she said most of her girlfriends had already been divorced after getting married in their early 20s. Now, of course, that's just anecdotal, and there are plenty of people who get married young who have very successful marriages, my parents included. But here's a really interesting thing that was new to me. According to this article, getting married after your mid-30s is actually riskier than getting married in your late 20s. And that the best age at which to get married appears to be between 28 and 32. Before that age range, divorce rates are still decreasing. After that window, they begin to climb again. So yes, there is apparent sociological evidence that tells us we shouldn't get married too young, but also that we shouldn't get married later than our mid-30s. And we don't really know why this is, and also this is very dependent on the country and the culture that you live in. Very interesting, guys. If you want to read more about this study, I'll put the link down below. But I also think we can't look at averages and numbers like this and make decisions about our lives based on these kind of things. Because every individual human and every couple is so different, and feeling pressured to align ourselves and align our lives and to do things by a certain age or at a certain age makes us make bad decisions, I think, for the most part. I do think it's fair to say that if you're really young and you want to get married, there might be reason to wait. Most people are going through so many new experiences before the age of 25, and to enter into a legal contract, which is what marriage is, before 25 and start having kids. For some people that can be really, really overwhelming when they outgrow certain things and realize, oh man, I got myself into this really, really huge commitment, especially if you had kids, and getting out of it is gonna be tough. So that's a big thing to say, and I know it's really different for all people, but I think waiting a little bit before you get married is a good idea for most people. However, as far as the other thing goes about being too old to get married, I don't think that's super helpful or useful for most people. Regardless of age, once you've reached a point in your life where you feel somewhat financially independent or stable, and you've kind of tested yourself in the emotional waters to some degree, and you feel like you can handle certain hardships, you're more emotionally mature, I think then maybe you're ready for marriage or you're ready to get married. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to marry the person you're with right at the moment, but that you can start thinking about possibly getting married. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Some people get married when they're 50. Some people get married for the third time when they're 50. Some people never get married. And all of that is okay, and these constant questions and pressure and trying to live up to some kind of image that the culture has created for us is just so unfair. It makes people feel inadequate and incomplete, and honestly I think that the wedding industry contributes to this by only showing us photos of young brides, maybe slightly older grooms, usually heterosexual white couples, let's be honest. And having this as our only norm is really not helpful and frankly kind of detrimental to a lot of people who are comparing themselves to this one story. Now I know for a lot of people that you're just under extreme pressure from family or maybe friends or whatever it may be, and I honestly don't know what that's like. I am not from a family who ever put pressure on me to get married. So if you are in that situation, I'm really sorry, and I hope that you can get through that somehow, maybe with the support of friends and other people who are going through what you are and can understand. And I really hope for you to be strong and not feel like you have to go through with things that are not what you want to do, that you're gonna have to pay for later in whatever negative consequences of not listening to yourself. Anyway guys, I hope this was interesting and a little bit informative. If you like this video, please like it down below and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.